Hello and welcome to Anatomy of Marriage. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
What's up, guys? My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. Today we're talking about every time we fight, my wife brings up mistakes I made 20 years ago.
Let's go.
Today's show is brought to you by High Performance Marriage Coaching. That's right. Email us at coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com to schedule your call with me and Melanie if your marriage needs a little oomph in there. We do it. It works. Trust me, guys. So email at coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com or go click on the tab at thestudleys.com. See you there.
Nice. All right. Today's question comes to us from a listener. And it says, I'm a longtime listener and my wife and I have been married for 22 years. We have 4 kids. When our kids were young, I had an emotional affair with a close friend and it ruined so much in my life and it almost ended our marriage. We've been through some counseling and the years since has put distance from it. I've not done anything like that since, but I don't think I've ever been truly forgiven by my wife. All these years later, we cannot have an argument without her breaking that out from the arsenal, and 99% of the time things are fine. But there are some things I would like to work on, intimacy being one, but there's no way I'm going to be the one to suggest Anatomy of Marriage to my wife because it'll just open the vault on all the crappy stuff that I did as a 20-year-old that I don't enjoy rehashing. That makes me feel like crap. Ruins an otherwise good day that I would prefer staying locked in the vault and where, if I'm lucky, it is only brought out in battle. Thank you.
Okay, so this one's hard, right? My spouse, husband or wife, keeps on bringing up stuff that happened a long time ago.
Right.
So
can I say something right out of the gate on this one? So this is something I actually dealt with a client recently and something that I had to deal with myself in our marriage, because on this journey to try to heal from the crap that we went through, I perpetually kept bringing up what Seth had done wrong 6 months ago, 6 years ago, 6 weeks ago, 6 days ago. Like I just could not stop almost obsessing with what he had done wrong, especially when he tried to do something right.
Right.
How stupid is that? And the analogy that I used, and it's a biblical thing, is he talks about trying to scoop fire into your lap. It's not in the correct context, but that's the way that I look at it. Like I go, oh, you're trying to do something good? Well, watch this. And then I go over to our campfire and I get coals out of the thing and I go, oh, this is burning me.
Right.
What? But it's like, he didn't bring it up. I didn't need to bring it up.
Right.
And now I'm hurt and I'm mad at you for it.
Right. So this is multi-layered, right? Now look at it as a therapist in this way. Because I believe this too, when one spouse does something bad, the new behavior from your spouse moving forward is either going to really help you get over it or really just kind of not make it worse, but not help it, right? So if I was still a douche to you over that, would that make it easier for you to be different? Or would you just, are you so self-differentiated that you just would have been like, oh, I'm awesome?
No. Oh, no.
No, of course not, right? So I'm going to kind of go an opposite way here. So I'm going to ask the guy, like, okay, bro, what are you doing or not doing that is helping her heal in this way, right? Are you at the top of your game in all areas? If so, awesome, amazing, good job, good for you. I'm not being weird. Like, awesome, good for you, right? And then your wife really needs to kind of shake things up.
Right.
Because what I would like to ask the wife this, you know what? What do you expect to get if this behavior continues? What are you trying to prove? Are you trying to make him suffer for it because you really didn't get over it? And are you not differentiated enough to a degree where that just kind of threw you sideways and you've never been able to bounce back from it? Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like getting a flat tire, which was no fault of your own. Some dummy scattered nails on the road, but you just have a hard time driving again because that one time you got a flat tire. You know what I'm saying? And I would also ask questions about the degree of the emotional affair. Was there like tons of money spent? Were there lies all over the place? Were there what was it, right? Because there are, of course, degrees of severity, right?
Right.
But still, 20 years is a long time.
Right. And here's the thing. I've said this again with a client recently as well, where it's like, yes, that was not the right thing to do. We shouldn't have done that. Not ideal. We don't want emotional affairs. But how long is that damn emotional affair going to impact your marriage?
Right.
20 more years? Is that really energy and power you want to give to that floozy over there. Like you're giving your energy away. You're giving your power in your marriage away. And if you are a like spiritual couple, man, doesn't the devil want nothing more than to start like a stupid half affair and then be like, this will ruin the rest of your marriage.
Right.
You're welcome. Right. Like I want you to look at this from that. And I know this is the husband writing in and this is probably not the wife listening, but husband, I want you to have your wife listen. And if your husband asks you to listen to this podcast, we love you and we care about your marriage. So that's what all of this information is coming from.
And we want forward progress and growth in everything that we say.
Yes.
Now, I had a really good thought. So one of the questions in this was, how do I get my wife to grow or listen to stuff without fear of being brought up?
Right.
So, husband, I would do this. You know what? Sometimes you got to just bite the bullet and say, stop it. Listen, I want our marriage to grow. Here's a really good resource to check out. Listen to it or not, but my intention in this is to grow our marriage. It is not, and this is what you have to be really careful of, because oftentimes we hear a great idea, we hear a podcast, we go to therapy ourselves and go, hey, I discovered that I was messed up. I know that you're messed up too. You got to go to therapy. You know what I'm saying? That's not the way to do it, right? So it's more of an inviting process. Like, I am getting so much from this podcast. It'd be so cool if you listen. That's all.
Right.
Oh, guess what? And there's another finance podcast that I'm really learning a lot about. You should listen. Oh, and triple, guess what? There's another podcast about entrepreneurship. I've learned a lot from that. You might like it.
Right.
Kind of thing. So it's an invitation. It is never saying, I'm doing good. You need to do good. You're not doing good. What's wrong with you? Listen to this stuff and get it together.
Right. One of the things too that I love. Oh, was there more you're gonna say?
Well,
Sorry.
I was gonna say, take the inviting, wise approach. Not you got to listen to this episode right now.
Right. And I don't even think that that's what it doesn't sound like that's what he's doing.
Right.
But another thing I think is really, really helpful that I've started doing with our kids, we do it in coaching, is the tell me why it matters, tell me what you want vibe. So tell me why it matters. This flips what people normally do on its ear, because normally people tell you what they want. You should listen to this podcast. And so then your spouse is going, well, why? Wait a minute. Why does he want me to listen to this? What do you think? What? And they're going to think the worst, right? So that's the tell me what you want part of it. Reverse that. Tell me why it matters. Say, and this is the hardest part. It's the best thing if you can do it. Say, you know what? I hate that I messed up 20 years ago, and I hate that it keeps getting brought up. I just want our marriage to be better. So I've been listening to this podcast. I would love it if you could listen too. Will you listen to this with me? Right out of the gate, they know why. They know like why it matters to you. Then they know what you want from them, as opposed to knowing what you want from them but having no idea why it matters. Because I could make up all sorts of reasons that Seth would want me to listen to a podcast. Maybe he thinks I'm stupid and he doesn't want me to tell me. All these different options of what it could be, right? So that's one thing that you could tie into what Seth is saying. Like, start out with the tell me why it matters. I want to grow. I want to change. I really love you. I feel terrible. And honestly, calling out what they're going to do anyway. Your wife is going to bring it up. Call it out. Call it out in a loving, not calling her out, but saying, man, I mean, I know I messed this up and I want to move past it in the best way possible. So here's what I would love, right? If we can call it out on the front side, we won't have to clean up a stupid giant mess on the backside.
You could even say it's something like this. Like, I would go through a couple in therapy like this. Say that your wife brought it up. You know, sweetheart, Jill, Andrea, I don't know. You see, and you're not mad at this point. You know, you seem to bring this up most times that we fight, and I understand that it hurts, and I know that we've talked about it a lot, but I think that it's keeping us stuck. Can we go to another counselor? Can we get coaching? Can we listen to podcasts together? Because, like, again, you're going back to the why it matters. I want this type of relationship with you. I believe in redemption. I believe things can change. I believe things can be different. And I think you do too, Andrea. If that's her name, then I'm going to freak out, right?
If it's her name, write it.
I know. But again, you're going back to that inviting place. You're saying, this is what I want. And I just gave you a literal way on how to do it. So try that out.
Right.
And if she bites her head off, say, okay, I get it, but this is also what's keeping us stuck. Right. But again, you got to make sure that you are on your toes, dude.
Right.
Doing all your stuff, keeping your word, doing what you say you're going to do, working, I don't know, being motivated, having self-discipline, all this stuff. You have to make sure that you do that, because then her doubt might be coming from a place like, I don't know, he's always late. Where's he at? He looks at his phone all the time. I don't know. He never tells me where he is, or he's defensive all the time. You don't want to give her any reason to believe that kind of thing might be going on. And I'm not saying that it is, but it's good to check that stuff, because you want to be beyond reproach, right? This is another thing that comes up. One person gets a growth mindset, here's a podcast and all this stuff. You really need to be beyond reproach before you go out and start preaching about the efficacy of coaching or counseling or a podcast or all this stuff. Show your spouse how your life is changing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Melanie, say that we had a terrible relationship, and Melanie hears a podcast or something, and then I see the change in her. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. Wait a minute.
Right.
Okay, this is different. And then I finally notice that and ask, and she says, well, I've been listening to this podcast or like these sermons or reading these books.
And I think that even happened in our marriage when I started doing the Miracle Morning. Like you saw, like the proof was in the pudding. You saw it. I was changing. I was becoming a different person, and I invited you into that. You only went along with it because you went, oh, I mean, I guess it's working. She's changing, So I think I like that idea a lot. Like being.
Well, no, I went along with it because like I was into that stuff already.
Well, I know. I don't mean solely because of that, but. The other thing too, I would like to suggest for the partner that is stuck, the partner that keeps bringing something up 20 years in a row. Let's do a little paradoxical intervention ideas with this. How many more days would you like to give this emotional affair your power and your joy? 1 more day? 1 more hour? 1 more year? So for another year, should you get upset about this emotional affair and bring it up whenever your partner tries to make progress or does something wrong? How many months is it like a good idea to keep bringing this up? And
That's a good idea. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that is one of the things I think is the most helpful way to look at if you have a reoccurring thing where you're like, oh yeah, I should stop doing that, but I can't believe you did that, and you're like, whatever, turn it backwards in your mind and go, how many more times should I do this? How many more times should I yell at my kids? How many more times should I look at porn and lie? How many more times should I steal from my spouse? Like, turn it around instead of being like,
steal from yourself.
I don't know. I was trying to think of things that aren't good.
Lift that $5 out of his wallet.
But that's the sort of way I like to think about it. And it helps me reframe it in a way that goes, oh, that is actually really not helpful.
And for couples like this that have been through therapy before and have found it not helpful, I promise you, nearly all of our coaching clients come to us and say, we've done therapy. We've done therapy for
7 years. Yes.
Or 6 months, every week or twice a week, and it didn't get us to the place that we wanted to go.
Right.
I would really encourage you to email us at coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com. We've had clients, and this is no joke, we're just not saying this.
Right.
They've actually said, we just did in 90 days what we did not do with a therapist for 2 years.
Right.
We're like, wow. Yeah, that's the power of coaching, because coaching is a whole different thing. There's accountability. There's pushing you. Like, wait a minute, I'm calling you on that stuff. And we ask questions. Wait a minute, Andrea. How many more years are you going to let this take space? Have an easy chair in your living room.
Right. Ooh.
2 more years, 3 more years, or 1 more day.
That
right?
emotional affair is living in your house.
That's right.
Ooh, man.
It is taking up space.
Andrea.
Energy, emotional space. So email us at coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com or go to thestudleys.com, click that call, get a free call with us, right? We're going to see if it's right. And most likely, if you have scheduled the call, I promise you it is right for you.
Right.
It is right for you. Coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com. Do it right now. Thank you very much.
That is right.
It is.
But I'm really thankful for the listener who wrote in and sent this question in. These are hard things. There's no two ways about it. This stuff is challenging, and we've been there. We know how hard it is I personally know what it's like to be this guy's wife, where I'm like, all I want to do is bring up the stuff that makes me angry because I don't know how to let go of my anger, and I don't know how to face the fact that I don't know how to let go of my anger, right? So this is challenging, and we have walked through it. We know how to do this. We know how to walk you through it. So yeah, I think coaching would be an awesome option for this couple, especially if you want to stay together. Invest in your marriage. There's no two ways about it.
Absolutely. Anything else today, girlfriend?
I don't think so. I love it. If you have a question, send it in to hello@anatomyofmarriage.com. And if you like our show, if you find it helpful, please rate and review it on iTunes and share it with your friends.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Love you so much. Go to coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com. So shoot us an email. See you later.
All right. Bye.
Shoot us an email. All right.
Bye.
Bye.